So are you feeling encouraged that the budget battle will lead to a quick resolution? Well, I mean, come on, quick for Congress's standards anyway. Let's bring in today's power panel. Kevin Hassett is former senior economist at the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. Brian Westbury is chief economist at First Trust Advisors, and Gretchen Hamel is from Public Notice. Thanks to all of you for joining us. Kevin, let me start with you and put on your former senior economist hat from the Board of Governors and tell me, how much progress do you think this budget makes towards getting our problem under control?
Well, I like the budget a lot. You know, it kind of redefines balance. So the president says he wants a balanced plan, but this plan actually achieves balance. It achieves budget balance in 10 years. I think that would be really great for the Federal Reserve if they could accomplish it. But I think that it's probably the case that political consultants will look at this and say, geez, he hasn't really moved much since his last time. And so therefore, it's probably not going to move us any closer to a deal.
Gretchen, is that the case?
Well, I think documents like this are priority documents, right? So they're not binding agreements. They set out what the priorities should be and kind of forecast the vision for the nation and what should be done. And so what the follow-up is key and important here. And in times past, we haven't always seen the follow-up. But hopefully this time we will.
Brian, you are a money guy. I mean, in the midst of all that is going on right here, you are trying to decipher it and make money. Does any of this to you?
Yeah, it really does. And Melissa, thanks for that. Out here in the Midwest, in the heartland, and we're running a real business. What we care about, and especially my economic models care about, is the size of the government. The bigger the government is, the smaller the private sector is. That's by definition, because every dime that the government spends, it either taxes or borrows from the private sector. So Paul Ryan's budget, and I do like it, it doesn't actually cut spending over a 10-year window. I wish we could do that. But by slowing it to about 3 to 3.5% growth, he is able to bring spending down as a share of GDP. And that will lead to a stronger economy and more employment. So I really like the budget. I like the direction, and I hope it does change the debate in Washington.
Kevin, do you agree with that by definition, the larger the government is, the smaller the private sector is, that every dollar they spend came from somewhere?
Sure. In the long run, that's absolutely true. There have been a lot of studies that show that the big government countries grow a lot slower than the small government countries. And so absolutely, if we could get government under control, we would definitely ratchet up our growth forecast. And that's what Mr. Ryan is trying to do with this. I think that the problem the Democrats are going to have is that they're going to put out a budget that maybe matches President Obama's rhetoric and therefore has a lot of tax increases in it. And that's going to cause a lot of moderate Democrats to be in something of a political peril. And I think that after the Democrats' budget comes out, we're then going to see horse trading and movement maybe towards this Ryan budget. But I think the odds of the Ryan budget being anywhere close to law are just about zero. They're not going to repeal, for example, Obamacare. It's just not going to happen.
Gretchen, you're nodding. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, and I think that's one thing that has to be discussed here. Is there going to be trade-offs, right? And that's what we will see happen over the course of the next few weeks. But he should be applauded because has taken on entitlements, and he has done things that we have seen other people not do. I mean, in fact, today Jay Carney was talking about how the president's budget, which doesn't even come out until April, won't even balance. So we have to applaud him for at least finding a way to balance a budget. Whether it's doable or not remains to be seen.
So, Brian, what is one piece in there that you would want to insist on as somebody from out in the Midwest who's out there just trying to live and do business and whatever? What's one thing you see in the Ryan budget that you would like to stay?
Yeah. I mean, that's a hard question, and I guess I would love to see the appeal of Obamacare. I think Obamacare itself moves us toward a single-payer system. I want to see consumers more in control of health care. If we really want to have a market for health care that doesn't eat our economy alive in the future, we have to move this toward more competition and more consumer-led behavior.
So, Kevin, Brian's not going to get his wish. Let's move on to your wish. What do you think about, I mean, maybe we were talking in the segment right before, I know, I'm so sorry, Brian, but that's not going to work out for you. What about the two-bracket code? You know, the idea that we're going to have a 10% bracket, maybe a 25% bracket, also perhaps far-fetched, but still interesting.
Right. You know, in fact, you mentioned it with the congressman that it looked like they even fuzzed up the language on that a little bit,
did,
which
on the
kind
second
of
part.
felt like they were backing away. Yeah, that's exactly right. But I would say that my one wish is that we actually have a year where there's regular order, and I think we might have that. And regular order means that the House has a budget, the Senate has a budget, they argue about it publicly rather than in a dark room where we can't see what they're saying, and then they vote and we hold them accountable for the votes. And I think that the Republicans have very deftly moved us to regular order, and that's kind of a dream come true for a guy like me, because we want to actually see what they care about.
More modest, yet also, I'm afraid, far-fetched. Let's get Gretchen. You get the last word. What's your wish?
I think my wish is entitlement reform. It eats up a huge chunk of our budget. It's going to eat up an even larger portion as we go on. And right now, my generation and other generations are paying into a system that they will never reap the benefits from unless something is done about it today. So Medicare goes insolvent in 10 years, Social Security in 20 years. Something has to be done. Something
like that. All right, and I want a pony. I think we're all going to be sad at the end of the week, but that's okay. We put our wishes in. Thanks, guys. You're a great panel. Appreciate it. So here is our money question of the